Welcome into Leaping into Spring, celebrating with Persian and Chinese culture. Today, we're going to talk about the spring equinox and taking care of the wood element and Chinese culture and Chinese medicine. I'm Dr. Sarah Lemming with Eastern Roots Wellness and Acupuncture Clinic in Northern Virginia. Welcome back to those of you who were with me when we celebrated the Chinese or the Lunar New Year back on February 1st. Today, we're going to be celebrating yet another lunar or another New Year. Yes, I know. We are celebrating another new year. In the US, I'm very fortunate. I get to celebrate three. We have the Western New Year, obviously, in January. Then we had the Lunar New Year, which fell on February 1st this year. And that coincided with the winter season and the element of water, according to traditional Chinese medicine. And now is the third and final New Year. It's the Persian New Year. It's celebrated across many countries, including in the US. And this happens to fall on the spring equinox. And that is actually welcoming spring into our lives and moves us to the next element, which is that of wood. Of course, before we get into all that, I'm actually going to bring someone who's really going to help enlighten us with talking about Nowruz, the Persian New Year. She's also a colleague of mine in traditional Chinese medicine. So I'd like to welcome with me Dr. Anahita Sayedin. Hi, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I know that we have a lot we're going to discuss today, but before we even get to the Persian New Year, which is going on right now, I know that in Persian culture, they like the Chinese culture, they have other events that focus on the different seasons, right? So like I was explaining earlier to my viewers, my last video was on the Lunar New Year, right? Which was on February 1st. It was talking about winter and then kind of getting us ready or kind of getting us started to think about spring. Now, does the Persian culture, do we have something similar to that?
Absolutely. Persian culture is very linked to nature. And starting 100 days from spring equinox, after celebrating winter solstice, which is the second most important celebration in Iran, we start getting prepared for Nowruz, starting with seeing the first signs of the spring. During that time until the spring equinoxes, there are usually some blizzards, some snow coming, and we call them the last old lady winter. Basically, we say the lady winter is giving her last pushes to, give birth to earth again. And during this time, we clean our house. It's called khune tekuni, like literally meaning shaking the house, getting rid of what's not necessary, what's not serving us, giving a lot of things to the needy people. And really, also cleaning our hearts, letting go of the feelings that are not necessary and are not serving us. And as we know in Chinese medicine, they are the cause of all the, symptoms and problems that we have. So starting from 100 days, all of this, we get ready. We even buy new clothes. We all should have new clothes on, and we get ready for this very important moment.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you said 100 days before the spring equinox is when we have like this push, this final push, right? And it's so interesting because again, that does really kind of correspond with the Lunar New Year, which yes, it's still in winter, but it's preparing us for the spring and kind of getting ready for it, leaving everything old behind that no longer serves us, right? So that we can have new possibilities. And I also love the fact that they're just very aware of nature. And I think anyone who's on the East Coast in the US will also know that, yes, the old lady just had her final push with us. I think we had last week we had our final little snow, hopefully for the year. So that's very exciting. But with that, today does mark the spring equinox. So it is the celebration of the Persian New Year, Nowruz. But I guess we should kind of discuss what even is the spring equinox. So basically, the solar system is in such a way that it's equal length day and night, right? And of course, this was celebrated for thousands of years, not only in Persian culture, but many other cultures as well. I was reading somewhere that the Mayans have celebrated it back in the day too. But again, today we're really going to focus on Nowruz and the Persian culture. So with that, I'm going to be turning it over to our experts. I guess let's start with telling me, what is Nowruz? Like, right? What is it all about? What is it meant to celebrate?
Nowruz in word, in definition, means new day. The new day and the moment that we celebrate, that very specific moment. It's pretty incredible that thousands of years ago they were able to exactly, using astrology and the knowledge and the wisdom that they had, they knew the exact second. And nowadays we all sit around this spread that you have on. There are elements in that spread. Each one of those elements represents a one specific characteristic of nature. Is all about appreciating nature purely. There is nothing behind it. Appreciating nature, family, love, respect for elderlies, and it's truly one of my favorite holidays and celebration of all times.
Well, let me ask this: how do you celebrate it? Like, what would we expect to see if we went over to your house tonight?
So after we, um, every Iranian household, or I've heard 25 countries celebrate Nowruz, and after we kill ourselves by cleaning our house in every corner of it, um, about 2 weeks before that, we are planting seeds. It could be wheat, it could be lentils, something that will remind us of rebirth and regrowth, because spring goes up and greenery and all that. So we're all gonna have one of those in our house, and we're gonna have our spread, and we all sit around it. In that moment that Earth circles around the sun, we all pray. We ask God for a better year coming. We ask God to give us peace of mind, clear our hearts, so we can move forward. Life only goes forward. Nowruz reminds us of that. And it reminds us also that the moment matters. We are here today, and the moment matters. So we sit around that, and at night, there are specific food that are prepared. And no matter where you go, no matter what religion you are, no matter which part of country you're from, they all eat the same food. So it's a kind of sense of a unity as well.
All right. Well, I just want to let our viewers know that the last picture, this one, they're both courtesy of Dr. Anahidas. So this is actually a picture of what's known as a half scene, something else you would find at a Persian household, right? Do you want to kind of explain what one would find on the table?
Sure. There's this spread is called half scene, or 7S. Each element starts with the letter S in Persian. It is made with apple, sumac, jujube, garlic, vinegar, money, coins, to representing wealth, bring you luck, eggs representing fertility, and each one of them have a medicinal value. Also, and as we know, each food has a temperature, not as the temperature that we know, hot and cold, but also the nature of each food is, either hot, cold, or neutral. So this table is very balanced. It has all the tastes and all the temperatures of the food, and it makes it a very balanced spread. Again, to remind us that we need to be balanced and use everything in moderation.
That's fantastic. And again, it's just completely kind of gobsmacked, right, at how much overlap there is between different cultures and different religions, right? You have, like, with the eggs and fertility, and then that kind of was taken into the Christian traditions, right? But then we also have with the coins and the money and the foods for longevity and wealth, we had that when we were celebrating the Lunar New Year. It's kind of like, it's so interesting that our ancestors knew about had all this knowledge, and they knew the different again, like you said, the medicinal qualities, the emotional, mental, physical qualities that these things can do for us, and the importance of celebrating them and keeping us, I guess, in gratitude to nature. I guess with that said, I know you kind of alluded to it earlier, but kind of moving forward, are there other different components of Nowruz that we can celebrate, even if maybe someone's not Persian? Like maybe like certain foods or different get-togethers, that sort of thing.
Of course. I want to tell you a quick story, if I may, I read it from Dr. Hisabi's memoir. He was a good student of Einstein, and they all are physicists. He, of course, he was Persian, so he had the Nowruz celebration, and he invited Einstein over for Nowruz equinox. At the moment, they wanted to be together. Einstein is always on time, and this time he's late. And he never goes anywhere without his violin. Dr. Hisabi said, I was waiting for him, and when I explained to him what is Nowruz about and what we're gonna do, after he walked in, I said, well, you're never late. What happened? And he said, I stopped by at my sister's house to tell her Happy New Year, because this is the real New Year, and everybody, you don't need to be Persian to celebrate this. This is appreciating nature. And we all are part of this nature. This is our mother planet, and we can all, celebrate it. So I think that answers your question. You don't need to be Persian to celebrate this. This is just for everybody.
Right. And I think that's fantastic. And again, I just love that it reminds us to be grateful to nature. That reminds us that we should be in sync with nature, right? We should try to strive for balance and appreciation, and that it's seen across so many different cultures. And what I also love is that moving from the Persian New Year, Nowruz, and the spring equinox, right? That actually moves us now, shifting from Persian culture to traditional Chinese medicine. That moves us from the water element, right, which is in the season of winter, to the wood, which is, we're now in the season of spring, and kind of what that means for us. And there are different ways that we can support our bodies physically and mentally during the spring season. So at first, kind of like I did last time, Dr. Anahita, I kind of talked about the correspondences of the season. So this is the spring season, the wood element. It's known to have a windy climate, which again, I think with that last little push, in addition to the snow, there was some wind going on. The color, guys, is green. Taste is sour. We have what we call the yin and yang organ, or the paired organ systems, right? So for the wood element, we have the liver and the gallbladder. And today we're going to be focusing on supporting the liver, to really focus on supporting your health in the spring. The fluids, the tears, the orifices, the eyes. This means, like in Chinese medicine, we have what's called the meridians. And so we say the meridians of the liver and the gallbladder open into the eyes. So you're going to learn a lot of conditions related to eyes. We would look at your liver or gallbladder health. Finally, we say that they affect the tendons and the ligaments. But again, as Anahita was alluding to, the nature of spring is up and out. So think about the muscles contracting, moving up and out. And finally, we have the emotion of anger. I kind of like to say frustration, stress. As someone living in Northern Virginia, stress tends to be, unfortunately, a daily part of many people's lives. So going from the correspondence into the energetics or the characteristics of the wood element. Dr. Anahita, are there any things that kind of come to your mind when you think about the wood element?
Moving only forward and up.
Right.
We're not back. And, that's one of the most important things about wood element, in balance with element.
Yeah.
So clarity, having a good vision. That's the best thing, I think.
Absolutely. I would absolutely agree. And right now we have like this picture of bamboo, guys, right? A bamboo, look how strong and straight and upward it is, right? But yet it's also very flexible, right? It can adapt and it can change. And so again, to me, the wood is everything. It's about growth, change, pushing through. Again, think about the seed that is starting to grow and it finally pushes through the ground, right, guys? We had the winter when we were kind of conserving all of our energy, and now is the time we're going to take that energy we were hopefully conserving. I'm sure some of you might not, but we'll get to how you can help that. And we're going to now actually push forward, and we're going to tackle things, right? What we're going to put into action, our plans, our ideas, right? This is the time to actually get things done, right? We talked about when we were in school, we talked about the general and the scout with the liver and the gallbladder, right? We're seeing what's going on and we're making the calls to take action. So again, spring's a time of action, change, rebirth. Of course, unfortunately, sometimes this element can also get out of balance. So on the other side, you can have a thwarted or constrained energy. You can have frustration, anger, and stress. So the key here is flexibility. If we hold ourselves too rigidly, we'll break and crumble. And if we're too loose and wobbly, like a badly rooted tree, right, there's no growth and real potential for change. So the healthy balance of wood is to remain flexible but engaged. And then real quickly before we go into the functions, just some things I want to say about the wood element out of balance, because I know sometimes people will watch these videos or they'll come to us and they'll say, well, I don't have any of these things you're talking about. Why do I need to get acupuncture, right? So maybe let me list some things that some people may be starting to show. And I'm also going to say this because I know allergies or hay fever is starting to show up, at least in our part of the world. And so these are actually some signs and symptoms of the wood element out of balance. So if your wood element needs a little support, a little work, you might be feeling irritable, angry. You might have headaches, migraines, or high blood pressures. We say this is the liver yang energy rising, right? Some people will have rib pain. And again, going back to those eyes, some people will have itchy, dry eyes, maybe red eyes, okay? Some people can also have bloodshot, painful eyes as well. Some people might notice like a spasming or kind of twitches in their muscles. Muscles are kind of a little too tight, a little too constrained. And then also some things we can notice are some skin conditions, right? Some like red, angry looking skin conditions. So like acne, boils, eczema, those sorts of things as well. And finally, too, I like to think we can also notice, and I want to do a shout out because it is Endometriosis Awareness Month. Sorry, guys, but I am going to talk about this. But sometimes when the wood element is out of balance, we'll have irregular periods or painful periods known as dysmenorrhea. So if you're experiencing any of these signs or symptoms, I would really pay attention to about the next 10 to 15 minutes to see some of the things you can do to kind of help your liver and help your wood element to be less constrained and flow more freely. With that said, going on to the functions of the liver, I know, guys, this is a little complicated, but bear with me. I just kind of want to give you an idea of why the liver is so important, how it relates to the spring season. So the number one thing I would say is that it stores our blood. It regulates both blood volume in relation to rest and activity, and it also regulates menstruation, and it moistens the eyes and the sinews. So again, if we have it out of balance, we're going to have someone who's having pain, right? So think of someone who's having, again, the painful periods, the endometriosis, that sort of thing. But they could also be someone if they don't have enough. It could be the opposite. So someone who's maybe anemic, doesn't have enough blood, that sort of thing. The liver, it ensures a smooth flow of qi. I think you were talking about that earlier, Anahita, about our qi or everything moving smoothly, right?
Correct.
Yeah. And so again, when things aren't moving freely or smoothly, that's when we have pain. And that's when we might have some issues with anger or frustration, right? It's kind of like we're coming up to a barrier and we're getting stuck. And so everything starts to stagnate. Also, again, the liver controls the sinews. Again, you can just kind of say that's like the tendons, right, of our body. So everything that we kind of use to move with, it manifests in the nails. So if someone has like dry, brittle nails, it opens into the eyes. Again, it's about moving forward. So think about it, it's seeing what you want to do and putting it into action. Controls tears, houses the ethereal soul, known as the hun. And to me, usually when I think someone has, maybe they need a little support with the liver, is someone who maybe wakes up frequently in the morning between like 1 and 3 or 3 and 5 and has having a lot of vivid dreams and nightmares. I like to say that the ethereal soul, your ethereal soul is not anchored, right? So we need to anchor it. And then finally, the liver is affected by anger. We like to say the season of spring is up and out, but so is the emotion of anger, like a shout, right? I think that's something I forgot with the correspondences. The sound is that of shout. So someone who almost sounds like they're shouting, even if their voice doesn't rise, but it seems like all of their sentences are in a rise. Okay. So we kind of learned about the, yes.
Yeah, I want to mention shoulder pain.
Yes.
It's one of the most common ones. People say that they haven't done anything to hurt the shoulder, but there is shoulder. And when we dig in, I mean, I'm sure you know that in your practice too, when we ask questions, there has been anger and frustration in the past month or in a recent time. It's very important. Liver is very important.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. And I think there's actually, if you were to look on a chart or something, you would see that the liver and the gallbladder, these meridians, right? They're pathways in the body, we would like to say. They actually crisscross over the shoulders at some points that are often known as like trigger points or motor points, basically where a lot of people get knots, right? Because a lot of us, like you said, when we hold anger, when we're stressed, we tend to hold our shoulders up and in. And so, yes, neck pain, shoulder pain, migraines kind of all correlated. It's that liver energy. we need to release it and get things moving. So how do we do that, right? How do we release our liver energy? Well, the number one thing we can do is through dietary therapy. So again, green is the color of the wood element or the liver organs. So the incorporation of green foods. And guys, there's a lot of good green foods. Obviously, you want to get what's local to you, but green raw foods, they also remind the body of youthfulness. So green foods are like dandelion greens, artichokes, asparagus, avocados, broccoli, cabbage, celery, endives, green beans, kale, leeks, mustard greens, lettuce, nettles, parsley, peas, spirulina, watercress, spinach, radish leaves, wheatgrass, and zucchini. I mean, I know there's more. I'm just trying to name as many as I can, so it makes it easier for you to add into your diet. And then we
Right.
yeah, exactly, right? So again, there are so many different ones you can try, and I know in our area, we're very fortunate in that we have lots of different supermarkets, right? So it's not just the foods that we're used to, but we can incorporate foods we can get elsewhere too. And now the next thing, which is very important, is going to be the incorporation. If we go back to that previous slide of sour foods, because sour is the taste associated with the liver. It's said that a little sour can help to drain and cleanse the liver, right? I think that's said in Western medicine. But it also helps to activate the liver and the gallbladder's many functions. Again, you want to make sure, as with every taste, you don't do anything in excess. You always do it in abundance. But sour foods such as like plums, lemons, apple, cider vinegar, peaches, green olives, pickles, those sorts of things can really help to support the liver. And then there are some other flavors too that are associated with the liver and actually associated with the Persian New Year. So I know you kind of went through this quickly, but Dr. Anahita, if you can go back and kind of talk about some of the foods that are used on the half scene and kind of what their benefits are. So like with the garlic, the sumac, maybe how some of us might see it.
Sure. So there is vinegar is one of them. Vinegar is called sirke in Persian. Vinegar is an excellent cleanser in the body. 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. I know it's become the trend, but a lot of people don't know why is the trend. It cleans your liver. It detoxifies liver. It actually helps the metabolism of liver for example, to create insulin in the body. Liver is responsible for insulin. So vinegar is a great food during spring. Not too much of it. Again, I can't stress enough on moderation. I see people drinking, I had this, the whole week I drank vinegar with my water. No, that's not good either. Everything in moderation. There is another one called jujube, senjet, in again half seen. That's also a liver cleanser, also a blood building fruit. They come in for us. The Persian kind is a smaller kind, and it's more nutritious. Actually, it's stronger. So it helps with your cleansing the liver. It helps preventing osteoporosis. If there are any pain in the bones, think about bamboos and the bones and the trees. So it really helps the bones as well. It helps the calcium absorption in the body. Garlic, we all know the benefits of garlic. It's an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory if consumed, again, in moderation. There is apple. 1 apple a day takes doctors away. That's very, everybody knows about apple and its benefits. It's better to be consumed with pills, so it's good to have them in organic version. Mm-hmm. There is sumac. Sumac is excellent. Sumac is a very good spice, very, very nutritious. It brings down the uric acid amount in our blood. It's again, it kills the cholesterol. It helps. That's why it's consumed with kebab. I don't know if you've been to kebab places. They Persian restaurants, they all serve kebab with sumac because it counteracts the creation of uric acid in our body. I guess I talked about the samanu is the one, the wheat pudding that I just told you about. That's very young. It's a very young food for yin and yang. It's a young food for this time of the year. It's energizing, and it's calming. It's really helps your spirit, which is probably needed during the spring to prevent anger and that shouting and the out of balance food. It's a great food to consume during this time. And that's pretty much. I mean, there are sweets to balance the table. There is a fruit called naranj that is consumed with dinner with fish, and lots of greens that are being consumed in Persian culture, especially on the night of Nowruz. I don't think it's possible in any other cuisine to consume this much vegetable. I don't know if we're livery people or what, but there's so much green in our food.
Right.
And this naranj is something between lemon and orange. It's not really as sour as lemon, but it is sour enough.
Right.
It's consumed with fish and kuku sabzi. It's the gratin of vegetables, green leafy vegetables. I don't know if you have tried it or not. I'm going to show you the picture of naranj. People,
Perfect.
excellent for spring. Find it, eat it, cleanse your liver. Really good for the body. Full of vitamin C.
Right. Well, it's also great too because again, it helps the body to kind of detox and let go of everything, so that we do have the energy to move forward and to put in action. And I'm laughing because yes, I guys, I love Persian food, but also it's so funny because when I look at my notes for foods for traditional Chinese medicine and the liver, so many of these are overlapping. Like you were talking about the sumac. So again, we think that the sprouts for the wood are alfalfa, barley, mung, and wheat, right? And then we go to herbs that help to help one be mindful of their wood element. We have anise, basil, the parsley, the saffron, right? All these other things as well, sage, fennel, dill.
Blood movers. Yeah, all blood movers.
Yeah. So again, this is really important. But then again, going back to blood movers, guys. So I told you earlier, one of the things about the liver function is it gets it moves the blood, right? So if your blood is kind of out of balance, maybe things aren't moving, or maybe you don't have enough. Again, this could be seen most easily with those who have menstrual irregularities. We need to kind of help support it. So what's another way aside from food that we can help to move the blood? Well, that's going to be through exercise and movement. So when I talked about the water element, Dr. Anahita, I was talking about like soft exercises, right? So the stretching and the yoga, like the yin yoga, right? Those sorts of things that were really about conserving our energy and keeping, our bones nice and healthy. But now that we're in the spring season, yes, we still need to have that stretching, those soft style exercises. But now's the time, guys, to really to start moving more, to start getting much more yang, as we like to say, more active, more up and out. So it's time to be physical, and that's really going to be helpful to our liver. Do you have anything to say with movement or exercise for the spring?
This is definitely the time. This is definitely the time to do it. I want to say after each gathering in our in Persian culture, especially during this time, we're going to be dancing. Many of these dancing, to me, when I was practicing qigong or not so much yoga, but qigong. Yoga is more like prayers for us, but qigong is very similar to Persian dancing. We just do it faster.
Just a little bit.
A little bit. And it happens at every gathering you eat. They say, come on, burn the calories.
Right.
And go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yes. I mean, I think earlier when I was looking for my expression to move the blood, again, circulation, right? I think it gets the blood pumping.
Yes, exactly. And it also, as you know, our blood houses the shen. it changes your mood. It's having saffron, blood moving, all these things. Food is medicine.
Yeah, absolutely.
We can treat ourselves with food. Food is medicine. Activities, just bringing good positive energy to the environment, and dancing makes anybody feel good. Why
Yep.
not?
Absolutely. And again, guys, if we were being in touch with nature last season in the winter, we were supposed to be kind of storing up and conserving our energy so that we can let it out now.
Yes.
But speaking of good energy and good vibes, so to speak, something else that we can do to support the liver is making sure that we do express our emotions. We vent anything that we're feeling. Right now is the time to let it out. And again, that can be through exercise, right? It can be through, a lot of people will make fun of me, but journaling, those kinds of things, like get your emotions out, particularly if you're feeling stressed or frustrated. I know when we were at school, we were told, hey, go outside, throw some eggs at the side of your house, or take a baseball bat to your pillow. I mean, I know it seems a little crazy, but again, it's about getting your emotions out, up and out, right? So that you can continue to be productive.
Yes, very, very much so. Yes. Uh, we all know bundled up energy inside that is not being released is not good for our body.
Exactly. And that's not good just mentally, but also too, that's eventually, if we don't do anything about it, that will manifest into signs and symptoms, including some of the ones we talked about earlier, right? And again, it doesn't just have to be the ones that are related to the wood. There can be other things that start to happen too. But again, if we keep our emotions inside, if we don't vent them, if we don't express them, it's going to manifest. And often it's going to manifest as a lot of tension, and tension over time turns to inflammation. And we know inflammation is it's a big problem, especially in the United States, right?
Exactly. Yes. It
All
turns
right.
into diseases, as we say in Chinese medicine.
Exactly. And then I think one other thing, guys, I know this one's a little bit different, but to support the liver, we can do a little bit of acupressure. So there are 2 points. So 4 sets of points each, one on each hand, one on each foot, that are known as the 4 gates. I was telling Dr. Anahita here, I call it the gates of Buddha because it helps to move the chi, it helps to get the blood flowing, but it also helps to bring a sense of relaxation, particularly if one is stressed. So the first one is known as Hagu, large intestine 4. So it's between, I don't know if you see my hand, between the thumb and the pointer finger. You kind of go to where the joint is, fall forward, press down there gently but firmly, right? You can do it for about 15 seconds, release for about 5, do it again for about 5 minutes. You'll know you found the point because it most likely will be tender on you. I know it always is on me. And then there's one Tai Chong on the foot. Supreme Rushing, liver 3. Again, it's between 2 joints, between the big toe and the second toe. Again, you kind of meet where the joint is and move forward, press down firmly but gently for about 15 seconds, release, do it again for a couple minutes. And again, this is something you can and should do every day, especially if you are noticing that you're having signs and symptoms of what we call stagnant liver qi, right? You're having headaches, stress, muscular tension, especially in the upper body, those shoulders again, the neck, that sort of thing. Again, it's just going to kind of get everything moving and re-regulate it. All right. And then, so to recap, I know we kind of talks about a whole lot in a little bit amount of time, but I really do want to make sure you guys get some benefit from today's video. So Dr. Anahita, I'm going to take it back to you. I guess, what would you say are some really important take-home points for the Persian New Year first? Let's start with that one.
The take-home ones is that appreciate nature, eat in balance and harmony, see each other, pass the love, let go of the negative energy because it builds up inside and creates diseases. Go see each other, spend time in nature, look at the trees. In our religion, it says, look at the trees and see God in them. Really look at the creation and how there's so much we can learn from the spring. And the food also, try to cleanse. I'm inviting all of my patients to start a cleanse during the spring. This is a good time to do a cleanse and get ready for, we have been storing. We're also from Kingdom Animalia. We have been storing fat and other things during winter, as we should have. And now is the time to, cleanse and do more exercises, get more out there, spend time in nature. For example, the 13th day of Nowruz, all of us will spend the whole day outside in nature. We're going to be staying outside. We're going to pass our sabze or sprouts that we have grown. We have watched it grow from the beginning until 13 days. We're going to find a river and pass it to the river for all the creatures that live in river so they can use it as food. Just, appreciation of nature. It's so important. We have only one earth. We have only one planet to live.
I think that's beautiful. And again, it's just always astounds me when I see how many things overlap from over time from many cultures. It's like there has to be something to it if so many cultures, so many religions are saying the same thing to us. And again, I would completely agree with what you said. Number one, being gratitude of nature today is, it's the spring, right? It's about regrowth, renewal. What are we going to do with ourselves, right? We've been in hibernation. Now it's time to come out. And to do that, we really need to support our bodies, right? So we need to eat a balance of foods. And again, maybe add in a little bit more sour foods, maybe a little bit more green foods, again, to support our liver, to get things moving, right? We always say when things are moving properly, then we won't have any kind of health ailments. And I don't know, I just love the connection and reverence with nature. And I think, just get up, moving, be cognizant of your diet. I think those are all really good things we need to think about in the spring. And I think that's going to then set us up to have a really good summer, right? Because it's not just about getting up and going right now, but it's like, can we do to take care of ourselves for the rest of this year?
And also seasonal fruit. There are some fruits that are only in the spring. Take advantage of them. Recently, I've seen them in the United States. There are green plums. I don't know if you've tried them, the goja sabs, They're literally green plums in translation. They are extremely sour. You can eat them with a little bit of salt. You can even make a dish out of it with lamb. Lamb is also a young kind of poultry, and it's good for springtime. So it's good to make a dish out of it. Take advantage of the food, seasonal food.
Right. All right. Well, with that kind of is a recap of today's video, some of our main points. Guys, in conclusion, I just want to say, again, it's about getting out there. If any of you guys who do celebrate the Western New Year made resolutions, back in winter and you haven't started them, I think this is a great time to actually go and fulfill them. As Dr. Anahita will tell you, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, it can really help support you during the spring, whether you have allergies or hay fever, or you do have a little bit of tension. Maybe you didn't quite nourish your bodies correctly during the winter, so you need help with that energy to go up and out. Maybe you have some emotions that are kind of backed up or need to be vented. We can absolutely help with that. Of course, Dr. Anahita, how can people reach out to you if they do have questions or would like to contact you?
I can be reached at healthypath40@gmail.com. That's my direct email. And also I can be reached at ifmhealth@gmail.com. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Well, perfect. So with that said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to listen to us talk about the Persian New Year and the spring equinox and the wood element in Chinese medicine. If you guys, as always, as Dr. Anahita said, if you have any questions, reach out to either one of us. We'd be happy to talk. With that said, happy spring equinox. And then do you want to send us off with a little Persian saying?
Of course. May your Nowruz be glorious. Nowruz Piruz.